Yes, 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 boys and girls. We are number 5 interviews today. I don't know what's wrong with me. I got a screw loose. I'm telling you. Why I do these things to myself. Don't. Uh, Here we are, number 2. This is the pod with Donkey Cave and my very special guest, the Prof, we like to call him, Rick Del Santo. What's up, my friend?
What's going on, Don? Thank you so much for having me. I'm very happy to be here today.
Oh, absolutely, man. When I put on these statuses of, because it's hard to reach out to as many as I would like, doing them all singly. So I
Right.
figure every so often I'll put out a general, hey, who wants to hang out and do a stir in a pot? And when anyone, and I do mean it doesn't matter who it is, when anyone, as long as one single person answers it, it tingles me a little bit, my friend. So for a few of you to come in on my statuses and say, hey, let's have some fun, I appreciate that. So thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Anytime. I love coming on here.
Man,
It's
the round tables, I know it's been a little bit. The round
yeah.
tables, we've had some fun with Mr. Del Santo and such. But I want to move on to, you've been doing something, and I think we might have spoken about it earlier. I have interviewed you earlier. This is numero dos, if you will, with Rick Del Santo. Uh, you have moved on with this platform of your podcast, and this is something that I've been waiting to dive into ever since you were asking if you could come on. And I'm like, absolutely, please, let's do this. I want to give you the start of this because I can chat a lot. We know that. Uh, I want to give you this platform right now, the beginning of this, to really, where can we find it? Who's with you? What's going on? Who are the personalities? This is an open forum for my friend Rick Del Santo and his new venture, this podcast he's going on. What do you talk to us about it, sir?
Well, it's titled PWZ. It's available everywhere, between YouTube, iTunes, or it's Apple now, Anchor, Spotify, all those, every podcasting platform. Basically, I started it off as myself. I do 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes just shooting the shit about professional wrestling. And then I met some other people and started getting them involved. And now, we're pretty much got like 5 people on hand where we pretty much release stuff almost 5 to 6 days out of the week. Between interviews, just reviews, there's retro reviews, there's all sorts of stuff going on. You know what I mean? So we've got some really, really great stuff coming this week, and I'm really looking forward to releasing those. No spoilers, but tomorrow, an interview we're doing tonight, it will be released probably overnight. I'm really looking forward to it, and I think you're really going to like it as well.
Uh, I'll be looking for that. Now, on the YouTube, you hit the subscribe and all of that. But on these streaming services, how hard is it to get your foot into these other platforms and really spread that brand? Because I throw my stuff on YouTube, I take the
Hmm.
link, I put it on Facebook. I figured I'd call it a day with that because there's so many platforms to put, your media on. And I get it. And maybe I should do more.
Right,
Probably, not maybe. I should be putting it out more to spread the brand itself.
right.
But I feel comfortable right now where it is what it is, I guess. But how hard is it to get your foot in these doors of all of these streaming platforms?
It's relatively easy because it's like, I use like one app, Anchor, and it distributes to several different apps. But then I started
Okay.
looking into it's like my stuff's not being uploaded to YouTube. So I was like, a lot of times I would just take the video version because I record through Skype. Thank you, Don, for teaching me how to use Skype in the
Oh,
beginning. I had
absolutely.
no idea how to work it until I asked you. So then we ended up taking the video version, but then I ended up figuring out how to upload the audio. I use the host site and then a second site, and then it just distributes it amongst every single platform. And
Oh,
I should really do more to promote the actual YouTube platform. Uh, I don't, but because I find that YouTube could be very successful as well. I've seen it, with a lot of young kids that use YouTube and have thousands upon thousands of followers. And some people, not that I'm looking to do this, but some people I could see that are doing this with their career, you know what I mean, through
hmm
YouTube, like young kids, you know what I mean?
yeah.
my younger kids have turned me on to guys like that, you know.
Uh, Speaking of YouTube and making money, for the past 2 or 3 years running, do you know who the highest profiting YouTube star is by any chance?
Would that be Mr. Beast? No, no.
That's that little kid Ryan. Do you know who Ryan is?
Oh, yeah, my youngest kid, Jameson, he watches that guy. Yeah,
Dude, we're talking 20 plus million
yeah,
dollars annually.
yeah. This is crazy. It's crazy that YouTube be such an adventure. And honestly, I'm having trouble even breaking 150 followers as much as I try to promote the page. So I have no idea. Maybe it's me being old. I have no idea, but you know. And the whole thing is like there's a lot of wrestling podcasters out there and guys that do YouTube. So it's really hard to grab the attention of
Yes.
certain people. You have to have like a niche audience and be doing something, you know, very different than everybody else.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely agree with you. And I know I've said it from the day that things started grasping a little bit with my footage and clips and turned into whatever it is nowadays. I've always said, I'm just a dude with a phone having some fun at wrestling. But let
Yeah.
me tell you, on that same subject, my friend, that you were just speaking of, when I first started doing the Kincaid file and I switched my channel over on YouTube, it used to be called, it's technically called Octane 2112. That's my initial username that I made it as, and it was supposed to be for my band. I put a few stuff up there. I didn't really do anything with it. I wasn't active with it. We
Mhm.
had like 16 subscribers.
Yeah.
I changed it over, did the Kincaid files, and just randomly started putting my stuff on. Well, once I passed 100 subscribers, I thought that was the hottest shit ever because I'm like, I cannot believe more than one person is actually watching my stuff, you know?
Right. Yep.
So Christmas Eve, this past year, we won't say the numbers because we don't like those numbers. That's in the past. Christmas of this past year, I wake up and YouTube has sent me an email and it says that I have passed 1,000 subscribers. I am up to
Wow.
1,012 subscribers.
That's awesome.
I ran around here like Ralphie with his fucking BB gun, Red Ryder BB gun with a compass on the stock. I was running around here like a kid, Mr. Del Santo. I was just tickled over that because how the hell, with me chattering, I'm getting this kind of traffic, okay? And I know it's really not a lot of numbers, but a lot of
Right.
people, like you were just speaking, and that's why I'm on this topic. It's hard. You get lost in the shuffle. There's so much
Right.
streaming. There's so much media out there right now. How do you separate yourself? I've never tried to separate myself. I never tag. Somebody asked me what do I put on for taglines and hashtags on my videos. I don't tag any of these things. I grab them, I put them up. I don't do nothing with them. That's all I do. And they're very surprised that I'm not using keywords, if you will, to spread the wealth or the name, not the wealth, but the name of the Kincaid files. So up to this point, and I don't mean to kind of be long-winded, but up to this point, as of yesterday, I'm breaking 1,500. So I've gained almost a few hundred, like 300 to 400, and just since Christmas Eve. I don't know what the hell is going on out there, Mr. Del Santo, but my brain is so twisted right now over this fact, and I just feel so warm in my heart that people are actually viewing my product.
I think what you're doing is pretty awesome. Like you're giving wrestlers that might not have a platform. You know what I mean? You're inviting them onto your channel. You know what I mean? Because you cover a lot of the independent wrestling scene, and I've talked about this with you before. Like in the Northeast, that may not get the attention. You know what I mean? On a national level, and you're bringing them onto your YouTube channel and doing these awesome hour to 2 hour interviews with these guys. It's just you're doing an amazing job, I think, personally. And I think it's I've said this to you before that you're in a very important part of the independent scene in the Northeast professional wrestling scene. because of the exposure you give people, and that's just pretty awesome. I wish to someday get 1,000 subscribers. I know I'll probably dance around quite a bit. It's not easy.
I just don't know how.
I thought hashtags were a very important part, but I'm finding that it depends on the topic that I'm discussing, or that'll get the attention. Like, we did a discussion on Brody Lee when he passed just a few days ago, and that got some pretty decent overnight hits, and it's still
Nice.
growing. And I thought, certain interviews were going to get us bigger numbers. Like we interviewed Barry Horowitz not so long ago, and I was like, this guy's kind of a legend in the business, for his position that he had. And, it was a subpar, numbers, but it's very confusing as to what people will grasp out there, because there's just a lot out there. It's very difficult to see what they're going for.
Absolutely, my friend. When I started doing the face-to-face interviews, I figured specific names would have these crazy numbers that I would never even expect to have. But it's still been an average roller coaster, if you will, of numbers.
Right. Yep.
And in all honesty, when it comes to the interviews, you're going to be surprised at this one. Chris Cannon is my most viewed interview, and I've had 2 of them.
Right.
Even before his second one, the most viewed interview, and I find that not surprising. I find it kind of true to what you're saying right now. What do people really grasp onto? It's so hard nowadays.
Right.
How do you grab them in? I've spoken about Chris Cannon before. There's a realism about him, and I'm going to bring it back to a Dr. David Schultz kind of guy.
I get what you're saying there. Yeah, I see that.
And I think some of that is part of why maybe his numbers go. He's only had, literally, my friend, I don't even think he's had fucking 10 matches.
Really?
I shit you not.
That's incredible. I mean, I was really impressed when I saw him live the one time, and then he wasn't so nice to me on social media. So when I asked him for an interview, he loves the Kincaid though.
I don't know what it is, but like I said, even on the second go around, we did speak on the DMs. I want to reach out to this guy. It's a matter of when Cannon is ready. Cannon is ready.
Right.
You can't make Cannon do anything, but that spins me back to those old school thinking ways of and I hate to use the word kayfabe, but I have to. The kayfabe, the world of kayfabe. Chris Cannon, but I've always said around here in our area, Dan the Man, numero uno. Around here, Dan the Man has always been, I felt, for the people that I know personally and have seen, Dan the Man, kayfabe guy, number 1. Right behind him, and only a year and a half, my friend, a year and a half left, less than a dozen freaking matches under his belt, Chris Cannon, number 2. I don't know what it is about the guy. A little says a lot for him. If you notice his presence on social media, very rare. You know what I'm saying?
I've noticed. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of, what do people want? You have no freaking clue. I interview this guy, and his numbers kind of jumped compared to some others, and I'm like, what the hell?
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome, though. My number 1 episode that I've had was when I interviewed the guy that's writing the Herb Abrams book, the UWF book. Right behind that is my first episode with that I interviewed Matt DeCourt. That's my second most played episode as far as numbers. So it's very unpredictable as to who and what will get you those high numbers. I try to share it everywhere I can. Social media is a very big influence as well. I created a Facebook page for the show now where I just share every episode, and constantly putting up on Twitter and Instagram and everywhere, trying to get people's attention and use as many hashtags as I possibly can. So that supposedly helps. I don't know how true, but
Now, in certain platforms it does, and others not so much. Now, you seem to be doing an awful lot for this podcast. You seem to be at the helm of it. Is that correct, sir?
I would say so. Yes.
Um,
Yes.
do you go because I found myself in different circumstances with an interviews or show when I go to live events. Do you go to bed at night and sometimes you just wake up maybe in a cold sweat and you're hashtagging? You wake up nightmarish and hashtags are spewing out of your head. You're like, what the hell? Has anything like that ever happened? Kind of show related?
Show related. One of the things that I will do if I wake up, say 2, 3, 4 in the morning, the first thing I do is I grab my phone and just look at the hosting app and see how many plays I had. You know what I mean? It's just like for some reason that's like constantly rolling in my head to see where that's going. You know what I mean? As much as because I'm always concerned with the latest episode and how many listened, views, whatever it's going to get. I'm always pushing it. And, sometimes I expect certain ones to be like, this is just an episode. This is a good one, etc. So,
absolutely. And like we were saying, it's so hard to gauge. You just never know. And I just want to stay on that topic for a quick moment.
Sure.
Again, with the interviews, I would expect certain names to have a bit better numbers. But in the same token, as I put up full matches, which the companies are very gracious on letting me do, which a lot really won't let you do. But I have the privilege to do some of that. And I would think in the same token, this match right here, I just got a feeling this thing is going to skyrocket with numbers.
Right.
And it doesn't. And it kind of tweaks me a little bit. But then one day out of the blue, I looked to see what was my highest viewed video because I've never looked at that before. And that was right before or right when YouTube Studio came out, maybe a year ago or so, around a year ago. And it's a tool that gives you all your analytics for more than anything you could have ever think of for your videos. The highest viewed video that I have at that time was Karen Bam Bam versus Izzy McKenna at the Palisades, and it was for American Coliseum American Coliseum Wrestling.
Was that the one in the mall?
Yes.
All right, I was at that show. Yeah, that was a really good show. I thought that was great.
And that one match was at like 64,000 views. I almost fell off my damn chair.
Wow. That's crazy.
I was like, are you shitting me? Right. Exactly. With those numbers alone, I was just totally mind blown, right?
Right.
So I'm at work this past week, and one of my coworkers says, hey man, I seen that you passed 1,000 subscribers. That's freaking crazy. I go, dude, it's mind altering. I don't know what's going on out there. And he goes, what's your highest viewed video? I go, well, it's this women's match. It's Bam Bam and Izzy McKenna. I go, let me go check the numbers real quick and see how much if they've come up at all, Holy son of a bitch. If I could look right now, I would, because I really want correct numbers. But I looked, and I just looked yesterday to look again because my mind again is blown, my friend. A Chris Angel mind fuck, if you will. Karen Bam Bam versus Dan the Man when she won the championship just 3 months ago at Ryder's Smokehouse. Okay.
Yep.
114,000 and change views.
That's amazing. That's crazy. That's pretty awesome, man. You're getting great numbers like that.
What the fuck? Again, and those numbers really are a lot. But I'm telling you, for myself, and just going to shows, and this is what it became. I'm just, oh my goodness, my friend.
No, that's really good though. I mean, for a YouTube video like that, I mean, that's really awesome.
Wow. I told my dad, he was like, shut the fuck up. I go, no, I'm not shutting the fuck up. Look. I had to show him. Man. So I know we've been on the topic of numbers and such, and trying to get the stretch of the audience. This is something that I've been wanting to talk to you about, because now that I've seen you're taking this a little bit more seriously
Yes.
than I thought you were gonna at the beginning, to be honest
Right.
with you, because sometimes you start out and you're like, I want to give this a whirl. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Most times,
Right.
let me rephrase that. Most times people kind of give up on it real quick because you
That
don't
almost
get that stretch of audience.
that almost happened to me, to be honest with you. I started in November of 2019, and I did like a short 10-minute thing, and then next week I did another one. And so I think I went until about January doing things basically once a week or once every other week. And then I kind of stopped. And then it just like, and then I reached out to a couple friends, and then we did a WrestleMania review or something. And then, another friend. And then I just started like doing this thing basically once a week for, as much as I can. And then it's just in the last year, it's grown quite a bit to now I'm doing almost like 4 to 5 episodes a week. Basically, just we can sit around, talk about Ring of Honor, some New Japan show, on top of talking about, the independent wrestling scene as well. I've tonight, on top of the interview that I'll be doing tonight, I am watching the Paradise Alley pay-per-view. So I'll be talking about that. I'm supposed to be doing a whole episode just based on that, a review on that as well. So,
nice.
That's my favorite promotion locally, you know what I mean? And I really support those guys. And I've made some really great friends, such as yourself, at these at their shows. You know what I mean? There's so many great people there. So I'm definitely laying down the $4.99 for the pay-per-view, and I'm just gonna sit down. And it's kind of sad that there's not a lot of wrestling in Connecticut right now. Actually, I don't think there's any going on. So to see guys that I'm very familiar with live on, I wouldn't say TV, but the internet, the pay-per-view, it's going to be a good thing. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Staying within that topic, 6 p.m. My schedule got changed around. Earlier I said I had 5. My schedule got changed around. My 6 p.m. had to reschedule. We're going to try to figure out what's up with Mr. Abruzzi later on. So instead of filling that slot, this is what I've come to. In between these interviews, when I buy stuff online or purchase stuff, I have a prepaid that I like to use specifically for that. So in between these few interviews that I do have today, I have 4 now, not 5. I'm going to put some cash on that card, and I'm going to get that because at 6 p.m. I moved some slots around. At 8 p.m. I took that, moved it to 6. That, my friend, is the Intercontinental Champion of One Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, Bull Dread himself, who's celebrating 20 years.
20 years in the business. Dread has come on twice, and he is just a great dude. You know what I mean? He's really awesome. So he's and I love watching him too. I've become pretty good friends with him in the last year or so. So through going to Paradise Alley. So it's really cool.
I felt that the stars aligned on that because Mr. Abruzzi had to take care of something else. I reached out to Mr. Dread. He said 6 is fine. But long and behold, I know it starts at 7, but that's okay. Even if I jump in late, I don't care.
Right.
But I get to talk to the champ before I get to watch said product.
Right.
I just think the stars aligned right there for that, for myself this evening. Not just for myself, but for all of us that actually watch during the pot. Hopefully, it's still not just my dad and his dog. So I thought that was really cool.
It'll be me, probably my kid. And, I'm sure you'll see, Jameson, he always comes with me to the shows, or the majority of the times. Once the pandemic started, I stopped taking him to shows because I didn't really want him out dealing with that. I didn't want to, expose him to anything, and I'd, feel awful if that was the case. So he's always with me normally, and, he's a big Dread fan, and Dread's a big fan of his. So
I have seen that. They have a beautiful relationship, those two.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm looking forward to that. That's one match I'm actually really looking forward to. That. Let me ask you your prediction. How do you think that match is going to go?
First off, to the Russian, So my money is on Bull Dread, the champ. I'm predicting that he retains, stays the champ, and continues his 20-year tenorship,
Yep.
and gets some more challengers down the road for that strap of his. So that's my prediction. Bull Dread on top. The Russian, thumbs down, 2 thumbs down, my friend.
He's got there's a lot of rules that are going against Dread, you know what I mean? So it's
There
I
is.
I hope nothing happens to him that causes him to lose that belt.
So you're covering said event tonight. Why don't
Yep.
you fill us, the fans, in? What is the stipulations that are going on for this match this evening with Bull Dread and Marasov? Max
If he
Marasov.
gets, I have it here on my phone. If you don't mind me taking a
Oh,
look
no,
at it,
please. Yes.
you know, if he gets disqualified or counted out, he loses the belt. So it's pretty harsh rules, you know, to go against the champion. You know what I mean? Those are pretty old school rules, wasn't that? Didn't World Class have rules similar to that? That if a champion was counted out or disqualified, they would lose the belt.
I loved World Class Championship back in
Me
the
too.
day.
Yeah,
The
me
Von
too.
Erichs and the the Brody, Bruiser Brody. I mean,
Yep.
come on. The fabulous T-Birds.
Yeah.
Freebirds, not T-Birds. I'm
Freebirds,
sorry,
not
the
the
fabulous
T-Birds.
Freebirds.
We could talk about the T-Birds.
No, not the T-Birds.
We could talk about the T-Birds. They're like one of my favorite bands, you know.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah, I bet you didn't know that.
No, hey. See, that's why we do these things, my friend, to learn more. That's why we do these.
About 2 or 3 years ago, I got to see the current lineup in on the Hamden Green.
Oh,
And
nice.
my God, when I tell you they ripped, man, it was such a great live show. So Kim Wilson, he's still got it, the singer. He's still got it. It's unfortunate I never got to see them with Jimmy Vaughn on guitar. But every time he plays, it's always in New York City. I don't feel like driving all the way up there. So, you know. Anyway.
Hey, no, we get to learn new stuff about our friends. That's very cool.
Yeah.
So, staying on that topic, then, let's get a little bit more of the musical out of you. What do you go to? What's your go-to for music?
Well, I have a specific list of like favorite bands. It's usually the Ramones, Cheap Trick, probably REM from like 1983 to about 1988. So, you know, just along those lines. But it's usually like lately, it depends on my mood. I grew up listening to a lot of punk in like the 90s and punk and hardcore. But I kind of, you know, as I got older, I started getting into different stuff. But I still think the Ramones are probably the greatest rock and roll band that ever existed. So that's pretty much it. I had a chance to see them numerous times. I've seen multiple of the, you know, certain members solo many times. I gotta tell you though, I got to go. I saw Marky solo at one point, and I got backstage. He was one of the weirdest individuals I've ever met as far as like musicians. Is very uncomfortable. So it was just very bizarre. So he was comparing the band that he was comparing the band that he was in and the members to every original member of the Ramones that he was in. I was like, I don't really want to talk about that. So you know, it's very bizarre. So.
I could go on and on about some live events.
Yeah.
I want to tell you a quick tidbit because your musical story brings me to a show at the Webster.
Oh, I haven't been there in forever.
When the Webster, when you could go check out, and I give you an example, and then I'll tell you the story. I give you an example. When you could go to the Webster and see the likes of, in one lineup, in one show, Brother Kane opening up the show. Or no, it wasn't Brother Kane. I'm sorry. It was a band called Soft. Or what the hell? No, there was a band called. They had a tune called Soft. It was a one-hit kind of gig, and I'll think of their name in a minute. But they opened up the show, and I don't know why their name slips me. I absolutely love them guys. They open up the show. Brother Kane is the middle, and then Candlebox is the headliner. Okay. At that time, you could stand with three of your boys, make a little circle, fire a joint, and have a grand old time at the Webster. Okay,
Right.
those were the days at the
Yeah.
Webster.
Yeah.
Now at this time, the story I'm getting into, it was the band Hurt. It was their very first tour that they were ever on, and it was through WCCC at the time.
Yep.
And their big hit was called Rapture. They had another one, Ton of Bricks. There was a couple of, they had a few singles out there. And I'm telling you, man, these guys get off stage. They weren't headlining. Army of Anyone. It was Richard Patrick from Filter. It was the drummer from Korn right now. His name slips me. I can't believe this music stuff is getting away from me. And the Leo brothers from STP. They all got together, and it was a fantastic tour. But Hurt is the middle band. The singer jumps off the stage after the rest of the band have gone to the backstage. The crowd has dissipated to either go smoke cigarettes, because you couldn't smoke, nothing inside at this time. They had the guardrails and all of that. Everybody dissipates. My girl goes to the bathroom. The band takes off. The singer jumps off, slips, and falls on his fucking ass.
Oh my God.
I'm standing there at the guardrail, and my eyes are wide open. My mouth is wide open, and I'm just going, oh shit, what do I do? And I just hear him cringe, and he's holding his back. So I run around the guardrail, I help him up, and I'm yelling to the back. I'm like, anybody, man down, anybody, man down. Here comes Craig the porn star, his guitar player and his drummer, and they were like, what the fuck is going on? Blah, blah, blah. I go, your boy jumped off the stage, took a spill, and everybody abandoned him. You guys were already gone.
Wow.
So they start walking away, and I ended up having a conversation with Craig the porn star.
It's amazing how that happens, though, right?
Dude. So my girlfriend comes back, and we're getting ready for Army of Anyone, and I go, dude, where have you been? You just missed the singer of Hurt jumping off the stage and cracking his ass bone. And I went over and helped him, and his boys came out. I met the boys. I met Craig the porn star. I go, it was fucking cool, man.
It's funny that you brought up STP, because it's like, I remember seeing them when they first came out. I don't know if you were at this show, but they opened up for Megadeth in New Haven at the Coliseum. It was a very weird build show, but it was different. Their first album was out. They had just the one single out, and it was a very bizarre show. Definitely a weird mix of people, because there were people there to see them, and then people to see that. That was the first and only time I ever saw Megadeth too. So
that double bill sounds absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
because I seen STP when Scott Weiland escaped from the rehab, then came back, rehabbed again, and then STP was going to come out and do a tour. And Local H was opening up for him, and that was at New Haven Coliseum. I'm talking 96, 97, 98 area maybe.
Yep.
And Local H opened up. But man, I am telling you, that was when Dancing Days acoustic style was really popular at that time for him. That was a good time, my friend. They brought down a little part of the lighting system, and it was like an acoustic stage setup. They had like some bongos and some other shit going on. They did Dancing Days, and they're doing some other stuff. And I said to my wife at the time, I go, if they continue and play Plush acoustic style, I am going to start an effing riot. They got off the acoustic thing, and the next song, Electric Style, was Plush. So they did me good.
That's awesome.
They sounded really, really fantastic. They were very on. I got to give it to them. They were on that night, man. Really good stuff.
I missed the New Haven Coliseum. That was such a great building between the concerts, wrestling. Obviously, I've gone to how many, concerts and wrestling events there. It's just a building that, I wish New Haven would build a Coliseum again, but it's, obviously never going to happen. So,
well, there is a new building being built in Bridgeport. I don't know if you're aware of.
Sounds familiar. So
It is a brand new amphitheater
okay.
being at the helm of one Jimmy Koplik.
Okay, that's pretty awesome. I hear him
Hmm.
on WPLR in the, on the, was he on Friday mornings usually? So,
Yeah, and he's shown some progress of the buildup of this amphitheater. So look up Jimmy Koplik.
hmm
He's very fluent on his social media. I might say for a guy of his stature and the contacts and the
right.
people that he knows, he is not afraid to just hang on social media and talk. He doesn't,
Yeah,
do any of the gibber bullshit, obviously.
yeah,
But he is so gracious with his time, Jimmy Koplik. Go on his page and check it out. I'm sure that's something you'd be interested in.
yeah. I'll have to. It sounds awesome because he's that guy was the number one concert promoter in the state for many years.
Yeah.
Now there's other promoters. Well,
Hmm.
when there's no
You
pandemic, but
you'll even see pictures of updated pictures of him and Shelly Finkel hanging out, bro.
oh, that's nice, dude.
It's
That's awesome.
so crazy because I follow his page, and I'm telling you, whenever I seen him with the Shelly Finkel, I was like, "Are you
They were
shitting me?"
Yeah, that was the team in Connecticut for
Yes,
years. Now they do
yes.
stuff at the casino, and they don't even bring anything to Toads anymore. It's they used to bring in the acts, the smaller acts, and the Toads. Like that doesn't even. I mean, I can't even tell you the last time I was there. I mean, I think I saw Iggy Pop there probably early 2000s. That was the last time I attended a show there. But that was the number one rock venue in the state. The Webster, was caught up, and they were having some really good shows. But they do a lot of the more metal and stuff like that in that
Right.
side of town. But I can't even. Geez, the last time I was there for that either.
And I hate to not support, but I'm telling you, Webster became to a point where you would walk in this place, it just smells dingy. It smelled like stale alcohol, stale beer.
Right
If you go there in the summer, you are not going to breathe. I am telling you, you are
now,
absolutely not going to breathe. They put two damn fans in this thing. And it's absolutely ridiculous. And I might sound old saying this, but I'm telling you, and no, like for real, because I've been to
no,
a
yeah,
shitload.
me
I've
too.
been to
Yeah.
so many fucking shows at the Webster alone, but man, it's just turned into something that nobody's put money into. Nobody's returned it into the
Right.
facility. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I drove by it probably 2 years ago. My sister-in-law had an apartment or condo around the corner, and I was helping her move a bunch of stuff out of it. And then, I left to go get something to eat, and I drove by it, and the outside of the building just needs to be redone. It's like and I know it's like the last time I was inside the building, it looked like garbage, but
It's
the
exactly the
outside,
same.
yeah, it's just like, there's all garbage all over the ground, all over,
Yeah.
it looks like there's glass broken. It doesn't look like they took care of anything whatsoever. Or they just don't even care, or, and the area is not exactly the greatest either, but, it's definitely gone downhill in the years. Cause I remember going there in probably the 90s. It was, nothing to really be worried about, but
Hmm.
yeah, it's
I feel you.
definitely, yeah.
I took my family when I was married. I brought my wife, my stepson, who was 12 years old, never been to a show yet. And I wanted to bring him to his very first show. So it was my wife, her son, and a friend of mine. We went and saw Dio at the
Oh, wow.
Webster. Okay. My buddy's band, Machinery, at the time,
I
he
remember them.
was, yeah, they were opening up.
Yeah.
And my son, because of my association with Sean Norris, my son had the CDs, the posters, whatever
Yeah.
swag they were kicking. We had the Machinery stuff. So for me to bring him to see Machinery at the Webster was just absolutely. He was starstruck, bro. It was awesome. Right when Machinery was done, we were talking to Sean and the guys. I put them up and sat them on stage. They signed one of their first CD for them.
Yep.
It was really kick ass. We had such a great time. But those are the times. Those again, like late '90s.
Yeah.
That's the time where it was just really effing cool to go to the
Yeah.
Webster, man. It was just such a great place.
I saw, and this is a weird show. It was Anthrax with John Bush was singing for him.
Oh wow.
Uh, and yeah, and they opened for the Reunited Misfits before their
Oh,
reunited album came out with Michael Graves. And I got to
that's
tell you,
crazy.
I'm trying to. Cannibal Corpse opened the show, so
Hmm.
this is 3 different style bands, and it was really it was a really cool show. That was just I, I feel fortunate that I got to see John Bush singing for Anthrax. I'd seen him with
Yeah.
Joey Belladonna quite a few times, and I think the last time I saw Anthrax was with Joey Belladonna, and they opened for Judas Priest, and the arena was like half empty. I saw him in Bridgeport, and it was like a half empty arena for these 2 bands. It was just, I was like, I couldn't believe it.
Now
It's like my
that was at the
childhood.
Harbor. That was at the Harbor.
Yeah. Is
Now,
that the arena in Bridgeport? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Now that the capacity of that is 8,000, so you have to take
yeah,
that in consideration.
yeah. I just, consider probably I guess maybe 1986, 1987, that place would probably be packed,
Yeah.
but this was
Yeah.
probably early 2000s. I'd
Yeah.
have to go with. So
Yeah.
it was a pretty bizarre to think about, to be honest with you, that these bands were not packing the place. But
Mhm.
I guess it's part of the times, right? The change of the
Uh,
times.
I, After I kind of brought my stepson to that show, um, he wanted more.
That's
So
awesome.
uh, seeing Dio, because he loves Black Sabbath at that time.
That's great, man. That's awesome.
Seeing Dio up on the stage again, starstruck. He was like, I can't believe, like he's right there on stage and he's doing his thing, kind of, and
Yep.
kind of thing. So my guitar player, I was in an original band, and it was probably around 1999 or so, and my guitar player, he wanted to take his son to a show, and I go, why don't we take our kids to a show at the Webster, man? He goes, well, who's coming around? I go, well, do you know who Godsmack is? He goes, not really. He goes, I think I heard of them. So I played him a couple tracks because I was down with Godsmack. When they were coming out, I
Right.
was all about them. That was a time when CCC was having these crazy get-togethers with like Creed, Kid Rock, Seven Dust, and they were doing like all of these things, and you were getting to see these fucking wild shows and these bands that would explode very
Right.
soon that you would have never known. But I said Godsmack, and he goes, yeah, that sounds great. So a band called Reveille was opening up the show, and they
I'm
were
not
doing
familiar with that.
it was a young kid band. They were
Okay.
doing one track. It was called Permanent, was their big gig. But I really dug that track, so I wanted to see them open up the show. But there was also another band in between. So Reveille played. The second band comes on. Well, the second band wasn't a second band. A guy comes out with a top hat. He's like a ringleader, starts talking some spiel, right? The next thing I know, some girl comes out with like metal underwear. Okay? She starts talking some spiel. Next thing I know, there's a guy, and you're probably familiar with him. He's a guy that transformed himself into the lizard man. He's got the tongue, and he's
It
got
sounds familiar.
he's
Yeah.
all painted up, and there's all stuff in his head, and he was literally transformed himself into this reptile kind of guy. But I seen him at this specific show when he was at the beginning stages of
Right.
doing this transformation. He comes out, she takes a grinder, starts like grinding on her area, if you will, and he lights a cigarette off of said sparks. So I look at my guitar player and I go, dude, I am so sorry. I don't know what this is. And he goes, this is fucking crazy. I go, yes, it is. So long and behold, the show goes on. It's a traveling, I'll call it a freak show, but it's called the Jim Rose Circus.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that. I remember. Yeah. Okay. I remember that.
Wow, fucking wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think they
It
did
was
something
crazy.
I think they did something in New Haven too. I'm not. I think they did something at. Do you remember the club, the Tune in New Haven? It was on Center Street, which was like mostly an underground club. They had a lot of punk, hardcore. No, it doesn't ring a bell.
That doesn't ring a
But
bell.
no, it was there for a number of years. It was a great. I spent a lot of time there. It's mostly like punk and hardcore and underground music and stuff like that. So I remember them. I believe that they came there, and I think that's how I heard of it. Yeah.
Wow. That
Yeah.
was something to behold as an adult. Really
Yeah.
had some fun with that. But we had our two 12-year-old boys with us.
That would
And I
have
was just like,
been.
holy shit, bro, I'm so sorry. I didn't know, And so we got through that. We happened to make a couple friends. There was a couple biker chicks, if you will, that we made friends with during the Jim Rose experience. Okay. So Godsmack is about to fire up. And let me tell you, that first run that they had was something to behold. I get the chills just talking about it, my friend. Godsmack on that first run, they sounded pristine. They were just so full of piss and vinegar, dude. It was just raw and fucking cranking. And they started, and the place went absolutely bonkers. So it got a little bit rowdy. But where we were positioned was on the steps. If you're going from the ramps where the bars were, then there was a
Yep.
little bit of steps and then the floor.
Yep.
Well, we were positioned on the steps right there. The two biker chicks looked at us and says, "Hey, you guys want to go up on the floor and have some fun? We got your sons. Don't even worry about it." And I'm telling you, Rick, we've been jawing with these ladies for the probably past hour or so, and we've made friends with these gals. And I looked at Gene. I go, "You want to shoot up to the stage?" He goes, "Fuck it, let's go." They watched our kids while we went and watched Godsmack. Are you kidding me? That was amazing.
That's pretty bizarre. Yeah, it's like you never know what to expect at shows sometimes.
Oh, so we had a great time. The Webster gave me so many. I could go on and on and on and on about the Webster shows. Unbelievable of some of the names that I just one more because again I could go on and on. But listen to this one, man. We're talking Cold Chamber or no wait, Fear Factory, Seven Dust, Megadeth at the Webster.
That's a big show for the Webster.
Let me reiterate that. Fear Factory, Seven Dust, Megadeth.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That had to be packed. I think the only time I saw Seven Dust, I think, do you remember when they did that whole thing, Metallica did that whole festival thing, like the Meadowlands, like that big thing? I think they were a part of that. Like every new metal band was a part of that. I remember Slayer was a part of it, and it was just that was a really awkward day. I went to that thing, and it was just huge, man. It was really awkward. I mean, you've been surrounded by a lot of people, and I'm not the most social person, especially when it comes, I do go out to concerts, and I'm usually kind of relaxed and by myself and chilling, But that was really, a lot of people for something big like that. And that was the first and only time I had seen Slayer. Do you believe that? Like, I thought that, I guess I had just skipped every show that they had ever come around, and I know they played Hartford since that, and I just never went, and I don't know. Yeah. Does now they're gone, right? Did they do their last tour last year? Was it or
I believe there's too many farewell tours going on out there.
Well, there's that too. I mean, Kiss has probably had 30 farewell tours by now.
That's been going on since 1999.
Right.
I was at that first one. I was at the first one.
Yeah.
It was at the Meadows. It was Ted Nugent opening up. Nugent. Fun fact: Ted Nugent got kicked off that tour because there was an original that he made on the fly on the road, and he was presenting it to us, the fans. And it was very politically driven. Surprise there. It was very politically driven, and it had to name many of the cabinet members, and I believe it was the Clinton days. I can't remember the exact era, but it was very politically driven, and he got kicked off the tour because of that one song, and they had to replace him because they were getting so much fucking backlash for that. That was interesting.
He's not known for keeping his mouth shut, basically, when it comes to his political beliefs. It's too bad because he is a hell of a guitar player. And I'm not disagreeing with people, especially musicians, using their platform to express their political beliefs, but he just comes off as being unfriendly, we'll say. You know what I mean? And not very open-minded. I'm a very open-minded person when it comes to that kind of stuff. You listen to everything and make your decision. So,
but you mentioned Toad's Place earlier.
Yeah.
They've had many a cool name out there. One quick second there. You speak of Toad's Place. At one point, I'm gonna call it around 2012, 2013 area. I was in a run of about 5 or 6 years in an 80s hair band. We were doing Crew, Whitesnake, Rat, one-offs, doing Kingdom Come, and stuff like that. We were doing some really, really fun, Turn Up the Radio from Autograph. We were doing some really fun material. And we got the chance to be part of a festival that Big Jim was putting on. And we got a chance to go down there. There was like maybe 6 bands or 7 bands total. In the middle of all of that was, I'm sure you're familiar with, a band named Nasty Disaster.
Ron Zombie.
They've been around for quite some time.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I it's funny because it's like, it's very possible that, especially, we could have encountered each other, especially in the music, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Prior to the professional wrestling days. It's very possible, especially, speaking about Toads and the Webster, it's very possible, we were in the same building at the same time in the past, especially at the shows like mentioned. Yeah.
I could probably put some money on it, my friend.
Yeah.
So yes, it was Natural Disaster or Nasty Disaster with one Ron Zombie. And so they're in the middle of it. We are band like 3 or 4. I think it was like 4. Now, at the beginning of this festival, it was one of those shows where it was just the band members and their gals, if you will. And we were getting kind of worried because it was like, man, I don't want to play to the 20 guys that showed up to jam up on the stage. We're at Toad's place. I want it to be a little something, And up at the light, the helm, the light helm up there is one magician, Marty Wien. Love that guy. He's done sound. He's done lights for many. He was a road guy for Twisted Sister, actually. Spoke to him on many occasions. We played at Bleachers. He was running sound over there. Love picking his brain. But he was doing lights that day. Just got his new light system going, which was amazing. So anyways, we're band number 4. We're starting to set up. And I'm saying to the guys, there's only been a few more people that have filed in here. I'm almost feeling a little wicked, more nervous than I already was when we fire up, Because when you fire up, if you're not nervous, my friend, something's wrong with you. You got to be a little bit nervous when you go to fire up on that stage. So our opening song is going to be The Hellion Electric Eye.
Yes.
So we do a quick sound check, and I look out there. There is about 250, maybe plus people.
Wow.
From the time we set up, because it was all backline shit.
Yep.
When we got our shit up front, set up, did a little ditty to do a sound check, and I looked out there. There was a good 250 plus people, and my mind just totally changed. And Hellion Electric Eye came out. I am telling you, that was my best ever. That was so much fun. But we go to do Detroit Rock City. And when we do Detroit Rock City, myself, the bass player, and the guitar player, we all line up together right up on that stage. We point our guitars, and we really do our thing up there because we like to do a show. We start doing the first verse, and a guy out in the crowd takes off his shiny, it's a Kiss jacket. It's like a collectible thing that a fan would buy, like through their website or something.
Right. Yep.
He takes it off him and is handing it to me to wear as I'm playing on stage. So we're playing Detroit Rock City, and I'm putting on this jacket, and I finished the song wearing this cat's jacket. It was so effing cool. I will never, ever forget it, man. It was just amazing.
That's pretty incredible. The thing with New Haven is that, like you said, going in there and there'd be maybe 20 people or the other bands and their girlfriends. That was like a regular thing, and unfortunately, in areas like that, some shows would be completely packed. Other shows would be like, where is everybody? We'd be the only. We'd think that there'd be a bigger show where it's just us. You know what I mean? Like just the
Hmm.
couple people that I went with, grabbing a couple beers, and just it's so unpredictable. New Haven
It
was
is.
so unpredictable at that time period, and I kind of miss it though. New Haven was like one of the greatest. Growing up in,
Yeah.
I only grew up right outside the city, but
Hmm.
I got to see so many great bands at that venue, man. So
Hmm.
many great bands at that venue. I wish they would still book stuff. Well, obviously, you know what I mean. But I
Yeah.
wish they would still bring in stuff. But they lost a lot of stuff to the casino now.
Yeah.
Everybody going up to the casino, whether it be the Wolf Den
Absolutely.
or the arena. So.
Yeah. Because even at one point, you still had Johnny Winter going there on a very regular basis once a year.
Yeah, I think he did come there one last time, I think, and
Hmm.
then, then never. And I remember there was a couple shows that had gotten booked there, and then they ended up getting canceled. I remember Keith Emerson was booked there. I was like,
Hmm.
oh, this is awesome, because I'm a huge ELP fan. And all of a sudden it was canceled. I was like, well, that's ridiculous. I did get a chance to see King Crimson there, though,
Oh,
probably on
wow.
one of their final tours prior to this current version that they have. And I stood underneath Adrian Blue. Literally, there was probably 100 people there. For this band, there was only 100 people there. It was incredible. I couldn't believe how, like, this place should be packed. I couldn't hear for days because that is possibly the loudest fucking band I have ever seen in my life, King Crimson. And I've always heard, you're familiar with them, correct?
Hmm.
Like, they've done very heavy stuff even from the 70s, and they've gotten heavier and heavier with every album and more progressive, we should say. And
Hmm.
it's just literally, I probably good 3 or 4 days I couldn't hear. It
Hmm.
was so crazy. So
I know we went on quite, boys and girls. If you've lasted this long through this video, because because we've gone on a music tangent. I know we're more. I know I've kind of presented more of the wrestling aspect of this, but I've been wanting to talk music with Rick Del Santo for quite some time. And what better time than when I'm interviewing him? We never got the chance to really chit chat about
right,
music.
that's right.
So if you've lasted this long, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Uh, uh, Mr. Del Santo, this has been such a fine chat, and I can go
It
on
was.
and on and on and on about music and the shows that we've both seen. We could, you know what? I think we should have a Mr. Del Santo number 3 and do it just specifically of what we're doing here. I think we should continue some music talk maybe later on down the road and have a little
Yes,
session on the shows that we've been to. If you want to bring on a friend or something, bring them on.
sure.
Let's talk some music or something. I'd love to
Yeah,
do that.
you know where to find me, Don. Just hit
Yeah,
me up. Hit me up, and then I will definitely be more than willing. Provided
oh,
the schedule is proper. So,
man, that'd be fantastic.
all right.
Before I do let you go, uh, we started it off with pushing your project, your podcast that you have. Please tell us the name of it. Where can we find it?
It's called PWZ Podcast. It's probably 98 professional wrestling. We do go off like we did today on tangents about other thing, whether it be try to keep it politically free. However, sometimes that does take its make its way in, but I try to be as at least politically as I possibly can. But we do end up talking about music every now and again, whether it be the 80s hair bands, or whatever, punk rock and such. But you can find me whatever podcast platform you use, PWZ Podcast. There's a Facebook page, PWZ Podcast, and an Instagram page, same name. So please go like, subscribe, share it up, and say hi. You know,
Absolutely.
We got a lot of good stuff coming up.
I wish yourself, your team, the podcast, the brand, I wish it all. The world of success, my friend. I can't wait to see where the PWZ podcast goes from here. I am very looking forward to that.
Thank you, Don. And
This.
thank you for
Oh
having
yeah.
me. Sorry to cut you
Oh
off. Thank you for
no,
having me.
please. Oh
I gotta make sure I say
no.
that.
Oh
Yeah.
no, absolutely. I don't mind. I've always said this. I don't mind if it's, obviously when we reach out, we like to get the fine talent on there because
Right.
that's kind of where we were geared for, getting their stories and such. But I've never minded. It may be a referee. May it be a ring announcer. May it be the bell guy. I don't care who the hell it is. May it be a ring guy. May it be a fan. May it be somebody associated with our fandom. I want anybody to come on, and especially when they have other projects that they're trying to do and get their passion going. I want to support everybody that we can, my friend, because if you can't at least nominally, we got to spread the word about that PWZ podcast. So, yeah, my pleasure, my absolute pleasure. This has been Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest. We love to call him the Prof, Rick Del Santo. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you, Donnie.